Hi friends, welcome to my channel Go Cool and Be Cool. ISO 45001 related to training program examination tips and tricks. We are going to talk about how to pass final certification exam and what are all the secrets we have. So we are going to discuss about each and everything region specific. You may be from US, maybe from UK, or maybe from Middle East, Africa, American, Oceania, so Asia, Europe, everywhere. So we are going to discuss about each and everything in part 4. So mainly the auditor skill and knowledge. Are you ready? Welcome back. ISO 45001 related training program certification examination tips and tricks. We are going to discuss about each and everything how to pass the final examination. So secret. So we are going to declare here itself the strategical approach. So Asia, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and then Americans, and then Oceania. In part 4, we are going to discuss each and everything, my dear friends. Auditor skill and knowledge. So we are going to talk about how the examination is going to happen, what all the area they are going to ask questions, and then what are the main contributions is, what are the domains you're supposed to memorize, you have to mug up, you have to write and make sure that the practices are happening in a proper way, and then ensuring that you are going as a consultant to the America, or maybe American people are coming to your area. Middle East, you are going to Europe, maybe you are taking to the Oceania. How other people will ask you the question and how your area will be audited in a different perspective way. So this is what we are going to see each and everything. So one by one we are going to talk about each and everything, my dear friends. Please make sure that you are going step by step. If you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you are new to my channel, welcome for this course especially. Please start from part 1, my dear friends, my humble request, because most of the people are starting from part 1. They are getting good knowledge step by step, and they are coming to the end of phase 1 and phase 2 of a main examination, so that we will make a thorough understanding of the complete guide of 45001 2018. So we are going to see one by one. First we will talk about here is the 45K lead auditor competency framework. So what are all the main areas as we have competency, how it mainly structured, the 7 competency domains we have, my dear friends. So lead auditor examination evaluate candidates as across 7 distinct competency domains, so each requiring comprehensive knowledge and then practical applications a skill. So mainly it talks about domain 1, fundamentals of occupational health and safety management system principles and concept. 13 percentage they will ask from this question. From maybe exam pattern we can say 45K requirements class number 4 to 10 they will ask you 13%. Fundamentals of audit the concept and then principle, preparing ISO 45001 audit. So what all the areas we have to ask? 14, maybe it covers nearly 50. Now 50% we can say approximately 50% they will cover. Domain 5, it is increasing conducting ISO 45001 audits. So nearly 27 percentage will be covered. So closing the audit 6 percentage we can cover. Managing the ISO audit 13%. So mainly they're focusing on how to conduct the audit. So in part 2 we have a checklist is given, my dear friends. Please start going through all those areas as class number 4, 5 till 10. You will understand lot about how it has been conducted and then everywhere. So you understand, my dear friends, 100% the main focusing on 25% here, 50% here, remaining 20% is this area. Then residuals is also we can see. So 7 domains we have to understand, my dear friends. These are all the areas mainly the questions are triggered. Okay, you people need to understand 13% means 2 mark questions we could see here is maybe 2 mark, 4 mark, 2 mark, 2 mark, 2 mark. Here is only the 5 mark question will start, 10 mark questions will be there. So these are all the areas. So now we can see here. Now moving to the essential technical knowledge requirement. What all the knowledge you supposed to do that before entering to the examination? Lead auditor must demonstrate mastery in 7 critical technical areas is what all these spoken we have. First one is standard interpretation and then application. See, you should know that in-depth knowledge of ISO 45 classes, because what I requested you is please go for online examination. You can keep your 45K in the right side, 19,011 in the left side. In front of you, if you are planning laptop, applying for the laptop, in the front of you maybe class number requirements and everything. Yes, of course we have some areas as they offer you open book test also, no problem. But it is possible, like once you have in front of you, then at least you can coverage each and everything. including risk-based thinking, hazard identification, and then emergency preparedness. Understanding the legal and then regulatory compliance or requirement applicable to different jurisdictions, as we can say. Familiarity, PDCA is supposed to be there. Cycle and then process management approaches is also supposed to be catch up. You have to memorize each and every area. Risk assessment competency, conducting comprehensive risk assessments is using methodologies such as FMEA and then hazard identification, risk assessment, HERA. That is also one of the main area. Evaluating hazard controls and recommending preventive measures. So incident investigation skill to identify root causes and then prevent recurrence, also one of the main areas as we could feel the conformity. Now audit evidence management, how it's supposed to be taken care. Knowledge of different evidence types, physical, mathematical, confirmative, technical, analytical, documentary, and then verbal is also another area. Proficiency in evidence collection procedure, including interviews, document reviews, observation, analysis, and then sampling, also we can take it. Understanding of audit sampling methods and their appropriate applications is 1.3. What we can say is personal attributes, what we supposed to have that, and then behaviorals. What I said, no, left hand side, when you're going for online examination, left hand side, 19,011, they will ask you 10 marks. 10 marks mean mod, my dear friends. From 19,000, 2 marks question they may ask. In 4 marks, maybe they will ask one question. So they will ask, what are all the 19,011 established 7 key auditing principles that auditors must that is embody. Like, you should take at least 2 marks. 2 principle you can write it. At the 4 principle, half of mark they will given you. They will give you half mark. Maybe integrity you can start, fair presentation, due professional care, then confidentiality, independence, evidence-based approach, and the risk-based approach. So you have to write it. So because what it talks about here is upholding fairness and then honesty in all the audit, ensuring accurate and then timely reporting of finding, exercising appropriate diligence and then judgment, protecting sensitive information and then updated during audits, maintaining impartiality, throughout the audit process, and then relying on verifiable evidences for conclusion, incorporating risk and consideration into audit plan. So these are all the areas as we could see 19,011. It talks about, at least if they ask for 2 marks, please don't restrict by yourself, my dear friends. Only answering 2, integrity and then fair presentation, they will never give you mark. Only 1 mark will be given to you. At least you can go for writing 4 or 5. See, some Twitter experts 4, some Twitter will expert 2 is more than enough. Some Twitter you may be very strong during the workshops and then exercise, so they will offer you the marks. That is the very, very important area. Now, my dear friends, we are going to talk about the section 2, certification examination tip strategy, how it looks like, and then where the questions will be triggered. See, we have taken as an examples of CQI IRCA from TV. A 45K lead auditor examination follow a structured format. Total question they will ask you 40. Online examination 20 easy questions as we have paper basis, generally they will ask. Online means they will ask for 40, my dear friends. So because paper base, I recommend you, please don't go for it, because it will never make you very comfortable. I don't think so, like you don't understand exactly, because you feel very uncomfortable during the examination. 40 in the sense like all are MCQ, that is only multi-choice questions. So you have answer, you should know that what is answer, then at least you can catch up many things. So in your hard copies as we have near you, you can at least copycat the same, and then we can add the examinations of everything. Now, duration, what it talks about, 1 hour 45 minutes as we have online examination. So 2 hours for the paper based on. Okay. So 1 hour 45 minutes, because generally they will give you 2 hours, my dear friend. Just 30 minutes for the preparation, maybe 15 minutes they will give you buffer. You can prepare, you can update your name. What is the purpose you are updating? What is the age, Gmail, or maybe your mail, other mails. Format is multi-choice, scenario based, and then matching, sequencing, everything we have. 70% overall plus 40% minimum in each competency domain. Sometimes they ask for 50, sometimes they ask for 30, 40. It depends based on the certification body. Maybe additional time 30 minutes for non-native English speaker. For example, you may have different of languages, in the sense they will provide you additional. So that also, it is all Twitter based approach. Reference material, yes, of course. Open book 45K. Open book, what he mean, my dear friends, please understand. Online means everything is open book for you. You understand now? 45K standard, you can keep it. Course material, personal note, everything you can take it, because it is open only. You can, because our purpose is mainly we have to address the question very precisely, very honestly, very diplomatically. Those are all the areas as we could see here is. Now let's talk about the examination sections online form and how it looks like. Section 1 is mainly the concept and then principles of the management standards. So 6 questions they will ask you, my dear friends. Please take only 10 minutes. Don't write more than 4 line 5 lines. So now line is also not important. You have to choose only one or two example that are. If they ask for two example, sometimes multi choice question 5 answers is given, they will ask you three to pick or two to pick. So in the sense you have to go for two answer. Now writing only one answer, even though it is right, they will provide you only half mark. That's all. Okay. So then section 2, audit concept and then audit responsibility will be asked for you. 6 questions they will ask you, 10 minutes they will provide you. Okay. Then section 3, planning the audit, 6 question, 10 minutes. Conducting the audit, 14 question they will ask you, my dear friends. They will give you lot of scenarios and ask for maybe in the mid section, maybe in the classes, maybe objective evidence, lot of questions. Then reporting and closing the audit, 8 questions will be asked. So 20 here we can say is 32 and then 34 and then the 40 we can say yes, 40 questions they will ask you. Now strategic examination preparation, my dear friends, please understand pre-course preparation, what you're supposed to do that, even though you are going for maybe writing the exercises, workshops, each and everything, but you people need to be thorough in PDCA cycle and core management systems element, because you are being watched through by camera. See, because you are opening the laptop, you are not moving your cursor here and there. You need to be in the confined area to ensure that auto submission is not happening. So they are watching you. If you are always watching in the right side, if you are moving towards out of the camera, in the sense they will ask you what happened buddy, what happened, they will ask you. So immediately you have to show your face. These are all the conditions we have. So study ISO 45001 class by classes requirement before training. Familiarize yourself with the 19011 auditing guidelines. So understand the OSS management terminology and then definitions also you have to understand. Now during training program, what you supposed to do, that complete attendance is mandatory, my dear friends. Please ensure that, okay, in case it is not possible, in the sense at least ensure that you are catching all the records and everything and getting the knowledge and reporting to your Twitter on time, because every time they have to open see, when the training starts morning, they have to take one screenshot. After the lunch they have to take one screenshot. They have to ensure that they are updating to their accreditation body, like I am conducting, I am giving 10% lead auditor, I am converting lead auditor, so in a proper way. That is what the important. 40 hours of over 5 days. Actively participate in all exercises, workshops and assessment, because everything is being monitored, my dear friends. You don't get any courtesy mark also. Courtesy mark, yes, of course, this person is very nice person, having very rich knowledges in 45K. He has given all complete, has completed workshops and then exercises, everything. Okay, we can offer him some off mark, 1 mark. That is tutor, their feelings. So you have to address, you have to ensure you are getting into their mind and feeling that you're getting into their heart first of all, and ensuring that you are in their heart, you are opening the door and then getting inside. So create personal notes linking to 45 classes to the practical scenarios, as clarify doubts immediately during the section. Then now critical examination tips by sections is what you have. So section 1 2 concept and principle, provide crips. So main areas as we could see here is, then precise answer is also now the aim. So we have to provide the clear one. Then marks are awarded for the exact phrases. So that is a very important thing. We should know that even though multi-choice question, you have to understand what answer I can able to pick it. No auditor attributes and then audit planning requirements is 19011. Understand the distinction between first, second, and then third party audit. So you should know the difference, my dear friends. Please understand. So accordingly, you can proceed further. Now moving towards the audit planning. So master the development of audit checklists aligned with the 45K classes. Understand the audit objectives, setting, scope, determination, and then feasibility assessment. Know how to prepare effective audit working papers and then test plans. That's all. Conducting the audit final one is like how to conduct. We have not closed one this one. So critical skill you supposed to have it. Write clear evidence based non-conformity statement. Support corrective actions as recommendation with the specific ISO 45K classes requirements. References, structured non-conformity reports with a finding description, evidence, and then relevant classes. We have to catch up this area. So, in my dear friends, please understand now NC writing marks allocations. So, how it's supposed to be correctly identifying scenario as NC, they will offer you 2 marks. For example, the question is 10 marks. So, how they will allocate? Descriptions of non-conformity, how to select, you have to pick the perfect description. So 3 marks they will offer you, and then relevant evidence 3 marks, correct class reference they will address 2 marks. So description of non, this is both are friends, this are both are friends. So 5 marks they will offer you, my friends. If this is wrong, so they will offer you at least 8 marks they will offer you. So this is very nice, I think, because step by step mark we have, it is not like that negative mark or one is wrong means all wrong. So you will get marks available. It's very nice thing, I think. Then now scenario based question strategy, what it's supposed to be: read the scenario carefully, identify the hazard or complaints gaps supposed to be, so then determine the relevant ISO 45001 classes, 8.1.2 for hazard elimination, 10.2 for corrective action. So these are all the areas, like, you have to make very precise and then answer each and everything. Then apply then hierarchy of control thinking says when recommending corrective actions says, then seek evidences that actions as are both implemented and then effective. So those are all the areas as we will cover upon each and everything. So now we are moving towards to the critical decision. NC or not, and that is a very very confusing point. My dear friends, please understand, because domain 4, domain 5, that is very very important. You people need to make sure that whether it is NC or MNC, they will ask really only two answers available. First one is NC, second one is no NC. That's all. No more. I don't know. I can go for trials. No, nothing available. So you have to see the question. You have to write the remember the question multiple times. Identify what is that it's depend on. Plan, do, check, act. Where it falls, where it exactly the missing is happening. If uncertain whether a situation is a non-conformity, selecting not an NC can yield partial marks. You understand, no? Up to 7 marks. Selecting NC for the situation that is not an NC results in 0 marks. Selecting NC for the situation that is not an NC. So you are wrongly saying that MNC or NC, something like that, it will directly impact. Even it is NC, you are saying MNC, you can get the mark. So it is not possible, because directly the system will remove it. The system says NC, but you are making it is not NC, means that is MNC, or maybe it is not MNC in the sense the system will reject the things and offer you the 0 marks, even though you have a right selection of the classes number or thing. So at least you can get courtesy marks in the final only based on the pass criteria. They will fix it. Always cite the specific classes when declaring non-conformity. So now we are going to see about the common examination pitfalls to avoid. What are all the things we should avoid, my dear friends? These are all the areas as we should see that. Copying standard text and then verbatim. Simply what others will do now, simply they will catch up. What is meant by 8.5.2? Simply catch up the first statement, bold letter, and then put it in the that is examination area. It is not required, but you have to define 8.1.2 what it talks about. You have to write in a proper way. See, you are not identifying the standards and then updating. They are not asking you the updations from the standard. They are asking you what is your opinion on the given case study. Yes, of course, my dear friends, we have given a lot of case study. I have given you a lot of how to write the exact standards and everything. You can watch in the upcoming part 5, part 6. You can write it down. You will come to know a lot of information. So write answer in your own words, demonstrating understanding each and everything. So then over elaborating on 2 mark question. Generally, most of the guys, what they will do, they will start elaborating, select multiple questions. Even though the question asking for only one answer, they will select 2 answer. That is not at all possible. Question itself will reject. For example, if the question is asking 3, you are selecting only 2, means it will never give you full mark. My dear friends, keep responses brief and then focused. Missing class references, always link finding to specific 45,000 k requirements as 45k requirements as and everything. Generic corrective action is proposed generally root cause focused actions is not just corrections. Corrections will not be helpful, my dear friends. Please understand, nowadays the trends are getting changes. Correction, then corrective action, then preventive action, then predictive actions, and then they go for the best. They are also raising their bars to the excel level. Then poor time management, allocate time properly, proportionally to section basis. That is also one of the important areas, as we could feel the confidence that yes, you are attending all the domains. That is very, very important, my dear friends. Now, now now we are going to see domain specific, region specific auditor skills and knowledge, how it looks like. For example, you may be a consultant, maybe a freelancer, maybe an auditor, you are going to Middle East. So how Middle East environment supposed to be, so what are all the things we supposed to look into this, how we need to react. For example, you are going to US, you are going to Middle East, UK guy coming to your area, US people going to Australia, then UK guy going to Middle East. So how this environment is going to happen, you supposed to prepare. You should know the mentality of the auditor, you should know the way of how the environment is supposed to be, what are all the questions you can able to ask. Okay, my dear friends, we made this kind of combination to ensure that you also need to prepare what kind of skills and knowledge you're supposed to accurate. So while 45 case standard is universal, its applications and then auditor approaches must be adapted to regional context. So the following charts illustrates the varying focuses areas across different regions. So regional, mainly we can say low context and then industrial, individualistic, high context and then collectivist. Process and then complaint focuses nowhere we could see, only Europe is east is only touching here. Risk and relationship focus. So risk and the relationship, if we have more on the low context is very very high, and then individualistics is very very high. So risk and then relationship focus, North America we supposed to do that, Europe and then Oceania is also main areas, so we supposed to focus in this. So now we talk about high context and then collectivist. So risk and relationship, mainly Europe in the mid range, and then Latin America, here is Africa, Middle East and then Asia is the main area. Risk and relationship focus, we have to focus a lot. So my dear friends, now we are going to see each and everything. Now we are going to talk about, here is a list of Americas. So what are all the areas as now we can see example like Brazil and then United States, Canada, Mexico. So many areas as we could see, Greenlands, Uruguay, Paraguay. So many areas as we have. So Guatemala and then El Salvador and then Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. So how these Americas is going to have mainly on the 45K what they are looking. Mainly North America, if you talk about USA and Canada, North America, the United States, maintains a distinct regulatory environment as, through the occupational health and safety, health and administration, so now OSHA. So the key OSHA characteristics mainly that covers private sector employers as in 50 states and federal territories as also it's available. 22 states operate OSHA, that is approved state plans as with equal or stricter requirements is also one of the main areas. Then general duty class, what are all the classes they have, section 5A1, requiring hazard free workplace is also main area. Prescriptive standards for specific hazardous fire machineries as confined space also known. Auditor competency, what you supposed to do that, what are the skill required, requirements for North America. Maybe for example, you are Middle East guy, you are moving to North America for the audit purpose. In the sense, you should understand of federal versus the state, how it looks like OHSMS jurisdictions is where it talks about. Analyze then knowledge of OSHA, then record keeping requirements as injury, illnesses, and then logs is also one of the important area. Competence in auditing, integrations of ISO 1445K, so with the OSHA compliance is also main area. Familiarity with the exemplar global certification pathway, alternatively to CQI and then IRCA is also we can provide these areas. Now see, we can see Latin America. So here is like focuses mainly on the Brazil maintains one of the most prescriptive than OHS regulatory requirements globally through its normas regulamentaries, NRs. NR1, so focusing area mainly on the general provisions and then risk management, then harmonized with the ISO 45K 2019 revision, then NR 7, 10, 12, 17 also we have occupational health medical control. So then auditor knowledge supposed to be have periodical health evaluation how it looks like, and then electrical safety, specific technical requirements which have it, machinery and then equipment safety, so safety device mandatory, ergonomics, generally workstations as adaptations as requirements also one of the main areas as we have. If you are the Latin America guy, then Brazil, how it looks like. Middle East, you are planning for the Middle East guy, so Brazil in the sense, these are all the area we have to take care, before entering to the level, so you should know that. Now, Brazilian auditing challenges what we have. So it's very difficult, my dear friend. Research indicates Brazilian NR 12 complaints can increase cost by 15% due to regulatory misalignment with the 45K. Auditor must understand, because see, this is the area, like these are all the gaps we have. You can directly take NC or MNC directly, we can take it when you are planning for this audit. So prescriptive NR requirements versus 45K performance based framework, Portuguese documentation. Because see, my dear friends, please understand. During, for example, if you are attending this class in Asia, you will get some friends in Middle East also. But the team know what the auditor will divide. Maybe the trainer will divide you with the Middle East, in the sense you should know, you should understand Middle East friends what they will talk about, how they talk about, how they respect each other, what is their country specific. So they will say their country specific. No, it is not like that. You are attending within the region. For example, 20 people you are attending online, maybe 10 people, maybe from at least a couple of people are from other areas also available. So Portuguese documentation requirements, integration strategies for multinational organization, then sector specific in our applications also not important area. Now we are moving towards the Americas, the main focus, North and South. North America, US and Canada, like already we have spoken enough. Key industries is mainly diverse, including technology, we'll speak, then aerospace, manufacturing, agriculture is also not the main area. Cultural nuances, we can say here is like, litigious society, then individualistics, and then complaints driven. Auditor skill and knowledge, what you supposed to hold it. Regulatory depth, you supposed to know that in-depth knowledge of occupational health, and then the US provincial OHS laws, Canada, and then OHS in Ontario is non-negotiable. You should know these knowledges before getting into the audit. The audit is often framed around the complaints with these regulations as well. Then documentation, heavy emphasis on documented training, incidents, investigation records, and the proof of the complaints. Then if it is not written down, it did not happen. You understand? No? Direct communication is be direct and then factual, so but professional. It's supposed to be like this. Now, again, we go for the Brazil, Mexico, Argentina. Key industries talks about the mining, agriculture, and then manufacturing. So here, relationship, oriented, hierarchical. They will look into this flexibles with the time also. Then auditor skills and knowledge. What you supposed to have a relationship building generally, personalization. So mainly takes time. Take time to get to know people. Building trust is essential. Then local regulations, so understanding of local law is crucial, because NR, that is a normas, regulamentoras, the Mexico, this is norms, normas of then officials, Mexicanos. So these are extensions on the detail. Formally in addresses, so use formal titles as sensor, senator, then senaro, and then doctor, until invited to be the more informal. So these are all the areas as we could see Latin America. Now we talk about the Asia specific region. So Asia specific, mainly we can see India, Pakistan, China, Mongolia. So here is Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia. So these are all the area Asia specific region. So how these people are going to relate? Region analysis of the auditor skills and knowledge requirement. Asia specific is the regulatory landscape. Generally, you're supposed to have it. Asia specific is the fastest growing region, my dear friends, for ISO certification. So driven by the accelerated industries growth and then export oriented economics. Key industries into you can understand, China, India, Malaysia, Singapore, and then Thailand. Each so with the distinct, occupational health and safety regulatory frameworks also on the area. Now we could see here is like country specific knowledge requirement. What are all the knowledge suppose? For example, if you are an India guy, you are moving to Middle East, or Middle East guy coming to India, you should know how India's behave. Factories Act 1948, OHS code number 2020. So then auditor knowledge focus integration with the national covers, LRQA, BSI. training prevalent is also another important area. Malaysia, for example, OSHA 1994 amended on 2024 we have. So new extended the coverages to all workplaces including remote work is also main of the area. Then Singapore Workplace Safety and then Healthy Act, performance based approach, so the lowest injury rates in region. Then China is work safety law, UN GHS alignment. Then state owned enterprise complaints. Now, regional auditor competency emphasizes understanding of the prescriptive versus performance-based regulatory approaches, knowledges of ILO, OHSH guidelines is commonly adopted in the region. Then cultural sensitivity in the worker participation and then consultation auditing, competences in auditing, SME is also one of the important areas, and then significant portions for regional economy. That is also one of the important area. So we will go in depth. Malaysia, for example, Malaysia, the specific updates we have 2024. In June 2024, amendments to Malaysia OSHA represent significant changes as auditor must understand. Extend coverages to all areas of work, including remote arrangements, introductions of new employers as duties, and then increased penalties, and then the mandatory complaints for organization previously exempt under one old industries specific provider. Training and availability, major provisions include LRQA, BSI group, and then green world group, and local news also industries also we can say. Training is delivered in English with the local languages support in some market. Yes, of course, because if you are in the local specific, it has been spoken a lot. Now we are coming to Asia. That is example China, Japan, India, Southeast Asia. So mainly the key industries is what we're going to cover here is manufacturing, electronics, automotive, and then textile. So cultural nuances generally here is like high context communications, so hierarchical structures, as importance of saving faces. Also we could feel the complications is here. Auditor skill, what are all the things as we supposed to have? Relationship building. So in China, then for example, Yuan spend time building rapport before dividing into audit findings, a direct, then confrontational, and then approaches with will fail. Now coming to indirect communication, learn to ask open-ended questions that allow for the graceful admissions of problems instead of you failed to X Y something like that. Try at least, could you please help me understand the process of for X. Then hierarchy awareness is always show respect to senior management. Your opening and closing meeting are crucial. So the finding presented must be fact based and non-accusatory to allow management to save face. That is very difficult because you yourself will simply declare, but after that management supposed to face everything. Then local regulations, a deep knowledge of China state administrations of work safety, that is a SAS we have regulations Then India, if you talk about the Factories Act, then dock workers safety rules, and then the recent ASIC, that is employee state insurance corporations requirements we have. Japan, if you talk about here, is like industrial safety and then health act, so heavy focuses on kaizens and then continuous improvements also main areas as we could see here. Now my dear friends, we are moving towards the Middle East and then Gulf Cooperations Council, GCC. Mainly it covers us on Yemen, Oman, so then UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi, Jordan, Iraq, so Kuwait, Iran, Oman. So many areas as we could address this area. Azerbaijan, we could Turkey, Azerbaijan also, Lebanon, Israel. So how these areas is mainly focusing on the 45K. See, Middle East Gulf Cooperation Council is the regulatory houses GCC region, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman. So has developed increasingly sophisticated OHS frameworks with many countries is explicitly aligning with ISO 45001 2018. This okay. So this is very important area. So country specific framework, UAE primary legislation, so federal DC law number 33 of 2021. Then administrative decisions is number 19 of 2023. So 45,000 states and the ministry standards is aligned with ISO 45,001 2019. We could see here is. Then Saudi Arabia mandatory OHS officers is for individual, yeah, for industrial, establishments is 100 plus employee. Strong government wellness, integrations is mandatory. Qatar, we can say labor law number 14 of 2004. So risk assessment and training requirements is you can demand for the same. So Bahrain, we have OHS rules is, that is modeled on UK Health and Safety at Work Act 1971. So near 100% of the complaints is with the summer work bans. So here is a woman, ISO 45001 mandatory in oil and gases construction manufacturing. So 5-year hazard exposures record requirements also one of the main areas as we. Now here is the regional auditor competency emphasis. So what all the areas as we could see here is a language consideration. It's one of the important area, my friends. Ability to communicate across diverse workforce, often multilingual labor, populations also one of the main area. Worker accommodations and then welfare auditing, significant regional concerns also main area. Understanding of climate related occupational risk, so heat stress, then midday work ban, something like that. So knowledge of worker safety committees is in absence of union structures. Then competences in auditing high risk sectors as oil and gas, constructions, manufacturing, something like that. Understanding of 2024 ISO 45001 amendments as addressing climate change consideration, that is also one of the main areas. Then cultural auditing considerations as LRQA notes, the Middle East is second only to the UK. So in ISO 45001 adoptions is among their customers, as auditors must understand requirements as to minimize barriers as to worker participation, including language, and literacy barriers. So fear of reprisals. So in reporting, cultural hierarchies as affecting consultation process. So these are all the areas covering everything. Now we are going to in depth of key industries. What are all the industries we have? UAE, Saudi Arabia, then Qatar. Oil and gas, construction and infrastructure. Then cultural nuances we have. There is a high context relationship driven, so deep respect for hierarchy and religions. Auditor skill and knowledge what it's supposed to have it. Then respect for religion and then culture. Understand prayer times. Then Ramadan working hours, and then dress code. Avoid scheduling critical audits during major holidays like Eid. So contractor management is a huge portions of the workforces, and then expatriates us on contract. So the audit must heavily focus on the management of the contractors, so their inductions and then their working conditions supposed to be okay. Then extreme climate risk auditor must especially look for risk related to extreme heat, that is a heat stress management protocol. So adequate hydrations is breaks we supposed to take it, and then adjusted to working hours also main area. Then relationship over processes. So while the standard is important, so building trust is, with the site management, so is often so the key to the successful audit. So patience is vital, is also important area. Now we are moving towards to the region of Europe. So mainly the Europe, because the climate is entirely different. So what it talks about, that's why I put the map is entirely different. It is a northwestern. We'll talk about Ireland, UK, Iceland, we can say northern areas and all. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland. So here is Austria, Belgium, France, and each and everything. Greece, Cyprus, and then Albania, we can say. Here is Eastern is mainly on the Bostonia, then Serbia, mainly countries just like we can see. The last one is Northeastern, is Russia, Ukraine. So these are all the touching areas. But the Europe, if you take, this is the main areas is what we can see here. Now we go ahead for the European regions as regulatory framework. Here is the mainly Europe maintains the most mature and then structured OSH regulatory requirements is globally, then anchored so by the EU framework directive 89/391/EEC. So this directive establishes as fundamental principles as that all the EU member states must implement, so while allowing for stricter national requirements are supposed to be there. So now here is the key directive requirements as auditor must know that principles of preventions and the risk assessment, employer obligations is to implement preventive measures, worker participation in health and safety matters, documentations and periodic assessment, of workplaces as well. So these are all the areas is supposed to have it to the next level. So country variations, my dear friends, in implementation. So United Kingdom, so post PRITS HSE regulations, then IRCA certification hub, because it is very important, like the overall dominations of the CQI IRCA is very important. Germany, dual state professionalism, professional association systems is DIN, ISO 45001 specific requirements. So and then 68. This is also one of the main area. Then France, national adoptions as guidelines. So CNIL, complaints considerations. And then Ireland, we can say here is a safety, health, and then wellness at work act. Alignment is also another area. Then European auditor competency emphasis. So how they supposed to be? You may be from Europe, or you are maybe from other region. You are going to Europe. So how they are more competent? So in your 45K area, deep understanding of a layered directive structure, that is a framework plus individual directive, knowledge of 20 plus individuals as directives covering specific hazardous task and then sector. So then competencies in auditing worker, representations as mechanisms as worker council, understanding of stricter national implementations as BRU, minimum, and then ESG is environmental social governances. We have integrations as in auditing approaches. So certification landscape, mainly Europe holds approximately 40% of the global 9K and 45% of ISO 14K. So these are all the areas as we could see. So with strong certification body presence from DNV, Bureau Veritas as SGS, and then TBR. That is also one of the main areas as we could see here is. Now, so we could see here is Germany, UK, France, and then UA block generally we talks about here is key industries, so automotive, chemical industries as engineering, pharmaceutical. So as cultural nuances, what we can take here is generally low context, direct communications, a strong emphasis on formal processes, and then legal requirements is also main areas as we can see here. Now we're talking about the auditor skill and knowledge, then directness and then precision. So be clear, concise, and then evidence based. Then Germany in particular, appropriate directnesses and then meticulous preparation. This is very very important, my dear friends. Directness and precision. So be clear, concise, and evidence based. Everything's supposed to be like that. Just like a flu or maybe blah blah something like that, we cannot say anything, because you are going there means you should know that what is the main objectives as, and then what is the main abnormalities we have. The observation anomalies has to be communicated well. That is what the important thing. Then legal regulatory requirements is the UU framework is crucial, my dear friends. You must understand. Okay, UUOSHE directives is then 89 391 ECE, that is a missionary directive. Chemical agency is also one of the main areas. The national law, how EU directives are transposed into national law, that is HSE. So in the UK, then DGUE in Germany, that is also very important. So with respect to your area, you should know that what is to be done for this next level. Then worker participation in many EU countries is especially Germany. So with its works council, so worker consultation is not just a standard requirements but a legal one. Auditing the effectiveness source of this is paramount. We could feel the confirmations. So then focuses on processes. So the system is expected so to be logical, documented, and then followed precisely. Evidence of the systematic deployment in key. That is also main area. So now we are coming to Africa. So North Africa, East Africa, Indian Ocean, so then South Africa, so Central Africa, and then West Africa. So now here is the consumption centers. We have existing HVDC and then planned HVDC. So West Africa, so many areas as we have Algeria, South Africa, then here is Kenya we have, and then Somalia, Sudan. Yeah, so these are all the areas as how people will talk about. So similarly what we already spoken, so that the same we are continuing here also. So Africa, so with the focuses on South Africa, my dear friends, the regulatory landscape here is like mainly it talks about South Africa serves as a primary benchmark of for ISO 45K implementations is in the African continent. So with the well established OHS legal framework, now we can see here is OHS, Occupational Health and Safety Act. So industry specific regulatory for mining, construction, and then manufacturing is also main area. Provisional, workplaces safety requirements is also we can say. Auditor knowledge what we supposed to have it. Requirements is mainly the integrations of 45K with the South African OHS Act requirements. Understanding of sector specific hazardous mining being a particular significant. Then knowledge of triple B, triple double E. That is a broad based black economic empowerment considerations as in audit program. See, in that case also you supposed to understand what is the main areas of these kind of main accreditation body, something like that. The knowledge what you supposed to have it. Competences in auditing across varying levels of the organization's maturity. So that is also one of the main area. So you should know the maturity level so that at least you can figure it out what it's supposed to be like that. So but regional challenge when you talk about Africa, so research indicates developing economics is a face this proportionates as 45K adoptions as barriers. Technical capability gaps we have, so requiring additional auditor support. So then cost pressures as SME faces 3x higher implementation costs per employee, and the need for phased implementation approaches. That's also one of the important area. Training facilities is, that is training availability supposed to be. BSI group supposed to be there. Rhineland is also mainly it is available. TUV they will take care in case any certification something like that. And local certification bodies is offer training, mainly in the aggregated certification bodies is in South Africa provides us IRCA registered training programs is also we have. That is also one of the main areas. Now we talk about industry specific. Africa, South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya mainly mining, oil and gases, agricultural, and then telecommunications we have. So then cultural nuances we can say diverse and variety, but often collectivist with respect to their elders and then community. Adaptability what we have infrastructure challenges is or common generally we have. uh, and then an auditors must be flexible, so when faced with the power outage and then connectivity issues or maybe travel delay something like that, focus on the basic safeguards in many areas is the focus is maybe fundamental controls and then mission guarding, then lotto we can say here is a basic electrical safety and then chemical handling rather than advanced psycho sociological risk also we can talk about here. Local languages, so while English French, so maybe the business languages understanding, so that shop floor workers might speak local dialects is important. So the use of translators or checking the effectiveness of communication is the local language is the key. Then disease management is in certain regions, awarenesses of and control of the endemic diseases is very important, like example malaria, Ebola. So maybe part of the occupational health and safety system, that is also very important, my dear friends. You have to take care. So before entering to the next level, now we are going to talk about the last one is Oceania, mainly on the Australia, then here is New Zealand, the touch up areas is of Philippine seas and then Pacific Oceans. So what these areas is look into this. So regulatory framework what we could see here is both Australia as well as New Zealand jointly adopted 45K as ASNZS 45K 2018, with Australia as an experts as contributing the significantly to the international standard development. Here we could able to exactly locate the same. So key legislations we could see here is work health and then safety, WHS Act, Australia's area there is a harmonized across most states. Health and safety at work Act, New Zealand also people are following. Then model WHS regulation, auditor competency requirement what they supposed to have it. Deep understanding of ASN ZS, ISO 45001 2018 modification also available. Then knowledge of WHS Act duties is primary duty of care concept, competences in auditing, PCBB persons is conducting the businesses or understanding obligations as we can say here is understanding of worker consultation requirements is under WHS laws. So these are all the areas of the main it talks about. Then regional auditor emphasizes what we supposed to, that proactive risk management approach, fewer accidents is through prevention we supposed to take it up. Legal complaints as verifications is aligned with Australians as workplace safety regulations is. Knowledge of safe work Australia guidelines is, and then code of practices we have. Understanding of notifiable incidences, reporting requirement, these are all the area. So training landscape we could say here is SOI global. Now the part of Intertech is also available. Then DNV, then LRQA, and local registered training organizations, RTOs. So we could say here is like provide IRCA certificate training. These are all the areas which will cover each and everything. So based on the auditor's profiles. So now we talk about the industry specific. What it mainly mining, agriculture, construction. So cultural, culture nuances we can say here is uh, egalitarians, and then direct with the strong, the no blame safety cultures is also another main area. Auditor skill and then knowledges we could say here is due diligences officers responsibilities. In Australia, the work health and then safety WHS Act places the heavy emphasis on officer due diligences. Auditor must check that senior leadership is proactively managing the safe. That is very important, because what is their involvement, it talks about everything, because the top management drive supposed to be there, team based approach supposed to be there to ensure that it is reaching, and then instilling the DNA, this kind of things into all employees. Risk based approach we can say here is the focus is heavily on risk assessment, and then the principles of so far as the reasonable practices of we can say is SF, AI, and RP. Open communication, a more formal and then a direct style is common. So, but workers are often empowered to stop and safe work. The auditors, as must test this culture, this type of a culture intentionally. So, during the embodied something like that. Now, my dear friends, we have seen each and everything. Oh my God, we have spoken a lot. Okay, region specific we have seen now. So now we are going to see the part 2 of lead auditor certification examination tips and tricks. The main thing is like how it's supposed to happen. So now we gained that, okay, my buddies, my training, and then my friends, maybe from Middle East, Africa, or maybe from Asia, India, US, UK, Australia. So how I need to be cooperate with them, and then take their regulatory bodies into my considerations, and how I can holistically make the scenarios in a better way to identify the observations as maybe NC or MNC. So now we are going to talk about the entire tips. First one, the thing is that master the why behind each classes. You supposed to know that, my dear friends. So you have to ask why. So we have to locate within this PDCA and exactly catch the situation. So don't just memorize the standard, understand the intent. Okay, so let's see that small examples of class number 4, what it talks about context. Why it is important to understand the organization context. Okay, so the things like they will ask this kind of a question, answer what you can write it to ensure the OHS system is tailored to the specific risk and needs of that organizations, or not just a generic copy. This is available in the multi-choice question, you can to pick it. Okay, so when it comes to class number 5, leadership, so why is leadership commitment crucial? Answer is without resources and directions from the top, the systems will fail. Generally it fails. Okay, because the top management driven supposed to be always there to ensure that the things are happening in a proper way. So this is how it looks like. Then we can focus on the high weightage classes where it generally talks about. So spend more time on the core process classes. Operation 6. So what we can say, the main thing is that class number 6 is 8, 9, 10 is one of the major. Support is also not required, I think. 6, like hazard identification, risk assessment, and then legal requirements supposed to be there. And then class number 8, operations, operational controls, emergency preparedness, contract management. And then class number 9, it talks about performance evaluation, monitoring, measurements, internal audit, management review. And class number 10, improvements, is non-conformity corrective actions. Now, my dear friends, let's take to the perfect, your non-conformity rating, how it looks, how it's supposed to be. Even though if, because see, my dear friends, please understand, first you have to make sure that submit the assignment to the Twitter. Okay, you have to write, this is the format they generally used to give, that you have to write the same format what it is now displaying. Okay, first you have to complete third day, fourth day exercises and workshops and everything, then only you can able to go for mock audit. Simply they will never allow you to take mock audit, because we cannot escape from this exercises as well as the workshops and all. Okay, because it's all very simple, my dear friends. Very simple. If you are always be engaged with that training and then involvement, if you have, so then you can write it very holistically, then very beautifully you can write it. Super, no? Then perfect, your non-conformity writing. So this is often a key part of examination. Use the golden thread. So we can say, what is a class? Generally state the exact class and then subclass requirement, then paraphrase what what the standard requires us. Observation state the factual findings as. Objective evidence supposed to be references the specific evidences. Example, interview with the maintenance manager or date, something like that, you can write it. Then record X showed, what is showed. This is how you have to write the NC writing. Whether it is NC or not NC, then you have to start writing this kind of a thing. So 5 points we have to address in the NC writing, my dear friends. Now, examples we can see. Okay, first one is class 8.1.2. Requirement supposed to be the organization shall establish and maintain a process for the ongoing identification of hazards. Observation, what they did, the hazard identification process does not include routine, non-routine activities. Okay, not include routine, non-routine activities. Objective evidence, the hazard register A is HAZ001 revision 3 was reviewed and showed no entries for the annual reactors vessels cleaning activities. The procedure for this activity, what is the procedure number, was not referenced in this. So this is how it's a record, my dear friends. It's a traceability, data traceability is supposed to be there. Then only you can convince during your closing meeting to the top management what is that you observed, whether it is right or wrong. Now we are going for the exam techniques, how it looks like. Read questions carefully. So my dear friends, please understand, you have to identify the keywords, best, most, first, lead auditor's responsibility. So these are all the areas you have to identify. If it is best means, like, you can write at least couple of examples, that will be the good area. So even that is the most, first, these are all the common words we can identify. Manage your time, don't get stuck on one question, so mark it. So for reviews and then move on further. So everywhere generally people used to do that, so it's very very difficult for them also to understand, like, first time if you are appearing, please, my dear friends, if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you are new to my channel, please start from the basic one. That is a part one, because you may not have that kind of experiences, like, appearing for the lead examination. So once you start from part 1, part 2, part 3, you will get more confident. Surely you can go for the examination without any hesitation. Directly you can click, you can crack the examination in a single attempt itself. That's damn sure, my dear friend, because lot of reviews, lot of request is there in the comments box. You can check it up. I'm thankful to all the people, like, they have given a beautiful examples as they have set the examples as. Thanks to all my subscriber, because you can start from basic, my dear friend. Then you will get to know what is I need to do in 5 days lead auditor training program. Then eliminate wrong answers. So generally in multi-choice question paper, eliminate the obviously incorrect options first, because this will damage the tutor. Whenever they see the answer, something like that, it will damage directly. Nowadays MCQ, now, my dear friends, systems AI is doing the check, but your tutor will give the important questions as how it looks like. Think like a lead auditor. You're supposed to be thinking like a lead auditor. The exam test, your judgment. What is the most professional, ethical, and then effective actions is for the lead auditor to take. Okay. Then practical scenarios and then case studies we have. Their practices analyzing case studies to identify non-conformities. In the exam, put yourself in the auditor's shoes. So what evidences would you look for, and then who would you interview? So those kind of things we can able to take it up. Now, my dear friends, we will see the part 3 of summary of lead auditor core skill, and what are all the skill I need to have. See, we have already seen, like, multiple regions, Africa, Middle East, and then America, how they supposed to have their mentality, mindset about 45K lead auditor training program, merging of all regulators and authorities, how examination pattern, what is supposed to do, tips and tips, everything. Now we are going to see core skill. For example, my dear friends, communication. Global applications is what they're supposed to clear, factual, and then evidence based. So whenever they ask for how the OSS communication is supposed to be, you can directly write this one. So regional adaptations is direct, that is Europe, US and all be precise. Then incorrect is very very difficult. Asia, ME, incorrect. Direct we can say be precise, we can say indirectly build rapport, be diplomat, something like that. We can give this kind of words and everything. Regional adaptations are supposed to be there. Now we talk about technical knowledge. 45K standard audit principles are supposed to be the global application. 19011 generally talks about. So, but when it talks about regional adaptation, local regulations, OSHA, EU directives, NRs, WHS Act, something like that we can say. Industry risk, we can say heat stress, we can say ME Middle East, then mining Africa, and then AU also we can say. Risk-based thinking here is apply the hierarchy of control. So focus on the most prevalent regional risk. Examples is contractor safety in ME. So basic, safeguards in developing regions also we can say here. Then cultural intelligences, professionalisms, objectivities, integrity, understand the hierarchy, communication styles, and the relationship importance, leadership, and then judgment. We can see manage the audit team and then process, make final calls on NC, adapt leadership styles, and then teamwork is auditor culture. So these are all the areas as we could see the summary of the lead auditor core skills and then knowledge we can see. Now, my dear friends, final recommendation, what we supposed to do that to pass the exam, and become the competent global lead auditor, you need a dual focus. What is that? Dual focus supposed to be the master the universal principles of the standard and auditing and develop the cultural intelligences to apply them effectively in any region. You're supposed to have it. But please understand, 5 days is course. 5 days course, completions of the 5 days course, you are gathering lot of information. But the thing is that you should make marketing of those kind of things to the particular agency, to your company, within the company, and make sure that you are leveling to the next level. It may be monetary benefit, with the monetary benefit, or maybe consultancy benefit or something like that. You should prepare for the exam by practicing class based scenarios or non-conformities writing. So, and prepare for your career by studying the legal and then cultural landscape of your target region. That is very very important thing, because based on the target region, based on the target, Twitter mindset will change automatically. The questions will arrive like this. That is the very, very important, my dear friends. Please ensure that you are going through all those kind of things, as you will understand about lot of things. So finally, let's learn and level up ourselves, and let us help and support others. So without pain, there is no gain. I hope you like this video. So please give your valuable comments so that I can also level up myself. So and share to your beloved ones. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching.